Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys a new video on Flesh and Blood. So I'm going to still trying to find my footing exactly on what content I want to make for Flesh and Blood, if it's just gameplay or other stuff, but all that to the side, I know what I do want to cover, and that's new cards when they get revealed. So starting with the first spoilers of the new set that was shown off at the US Nationals after the Grand Finals, in which Zen won. They showed us all four heroes coming out of the new set, the types of heroes, and even a couple of cards go with them. They didn't show us what all of the heroes do. In fact, they didn't even show us what any of the wizard heroes do, which makes me sad because, as all of you know, I love wizard. I'm a wizard enthusiast. But they did show us what a couple of the runeblade heroes did, and that's what we're getting. We're getting two wizard heroes and two runeblade heroes. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over all four heroes and then the few cards that they did show off with us, kind of give my expectations for the new set, give expectations for the cards that were revealed, and then I'll keep you guys updated. I don't know if I'll do it as every single card gets revealed, but maybe like once a week I'll go through and be like, oh, here are the cards that were revealed this week, you know, all that type of stuff. Yeah, and then as far as I'm aware, we'll be gaining the context of what the wizards do, both Verdant and Oscilio. I know he said it. I know Brian said it in the after grand finals, but I think it's Oscilio. We should be getting text as to what these wizards do in Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken. If not at future nationals, I know for sure we're gonna be getting some stuff at Amsterdam. So yeah, so until then, this is what we got to work with. So first off, we have Verdant. So Verdant is a elemental wizard hero. We're all going to assume it's Earth, mostly because we have her specialization card. So Earth Elemental Hero, there's a chance that she is a very good controlling style of wizard. We'll see why when we get to her card, but that's kind of what I'm getting off of this vibe, is a controlling style wizard with, you know, Earth Elemental card aspects to it. The next wizard that we have is going to be Oscilio, which presumably is going to be a lightning wizard. Looks a lot like Zareth from League of Legends. I know that's everyone's calling him Zareth, which I think is quite funny. And this guy has me super excited because he looks cool, and the lightning wizard, or really I should say the lightning aura that we have foiled, is probably the most exciting card that I have seen in the set, and it makes me super hyped, and looks broken. But we'll get to all of that in a moment. Just going off of visuals, I think both of these heroes look astonishing. Verdant obviously has a very beautiful card art to it, not just, you know, the hero themselves, but the actual everything around it. I love the flowering and I love the natural look to it. It really gives into that earth elemental, you know, the elemental hero with the amount of surroundings around her, both the tree, just the whole different colors of flowers, obviously the flowers all over her dress or whatever that is, and it just looks really cool. And then you have kind of the opposite with Oscilio, which just looks very forged and raw, and it's just like, these are the lines for it, there's no nature around it, there's just lightning. And that to me, also the extremities of one hero to the next is extremely cool. Both are elemental heroes. Like I said, this one's presumably lightning. Verdant's is going to be earth, and it's very cool. So I'm really excited for both of these. I'm really excited to see what their text is, because we have some cards to go over. So those are the wizard heroes. We don't know what they do yet. We'll find out eventually. Both look super cool. And so now we'll go to the cards that we actually know what they do. So we'll start by going over both heroes that we know what they do. So one is Florian. So Florian, and these are all the young versions of the heroes, says if there are 4 or more earth cards in your bandage zone, Florian gets, if you would create 1 or more aura tokens, instead create that many +1 of each of those tokens. And then Essence of Earth, so you get to play earth cards inside of alongside the runeblade heroes also. So this is an elemental runeblade hero with Essence of Earth, so you get to play the runeblade cards, you get to play the earth cards, which is very sick. We'll go over Florian's specialization in a moment. We're just going to skip to Aurora really quickly. And we have Aurora, which is an Essence of Lightning elemental runeblade. So elemental runeblade, once per turn instant, for 2 energy. It says create an embodiment of lightning token. Activate this only if you've pitched a lightning card this turn. For those of you that don't know, and embodiment of lightning is when you play an attack action card, destroy this, and the attack gets go again. So you can do that on your opponent's turn if you want to. You can do that on your turn because it is, once per turn instant. And you can essentially just get to create go again off of things, which is really nice. Get your embodiment of lightning. You can even set up for future turns if you like to. This doesn't discard at the end of your turn or start of your turn or anything like that. It's just when you play the next attack action card, you destroy this, and that attack will get go again, which is pretty sick. And the embodiment of earth, which we'll get to off of this, is your non-attack. Oh my goodness, your non-attack action cards get +1 while defending. And then at the beginning of your action phase, you do destroy this one. So this is one that gets destroyed at the beginning of your action phase. But before that, you get the buff on your defending. So ideally, you make these out, you defend with them, this goes away, but you got a bunch of value off of the defending versions of it. And then obviously you have your rune chant tokens. So all that's important because we can look at now the signature from Florian, which Florian signature is Germinate. This is also going to be the promo card giving out at the world premiere and calling in Tampa. I believe the promo is being given out at the world premiere, at the calling. I don't know about the world premiere, but definitely in the calling, and in different packages you'll get Germinates and stuff like that. So this is a Florian specialization. You can only have this in your deck if your hero is Florian. And then it says, create a rune chant or an embodiment of earth token. Repeat this process X more times, and then you gain X plus 1 life. And this card costs XX, meaning if you pitch a yellow, so if you pitch 2, it's going to be that number divided by 2. So you would get 1 instance of this. If you have 3 blues in your hand alongside of this, well, you just pitch 6, so you will get this 3 times. So we did get confirmation on stream also, where each of these creations is a separate instance. Meaning, if we look back at Florian here, if you have 4 or more earth cards in your banish zone, then whenever you create 1 or more of those tokens, you can create that many +1. So because these are separate instances, I assume how it would work is you would, say you pitch 3 blues, so you activate this 3 times. You would then, instead of creating 3 rune chants +1, or 3 embodiments of earth token +1, you would actually create 1 rune chant, then you get +1. And then a second rune chant, and then it gets +1. So you're effectively doubling the amount of rune chants or embodiment of earth tokens. Because it says repeat this process X times, it doesn't just say create X number. It says repeat this process. So you're creating 1, and then you're repeating it. And then you're repeating it, which is what makes it separate instances. So because of that, you can get kind of crazy with Florian. I mean, like I said, if you pitch 3 blues, you can just kind of create 6 rune chants. This is just Mordred-tide on a stick, I think is what people were calling it. So it's runeblades. So this says any aura tokens, including your rune chant tokens, which can start getting exponentially crazy depending on the different cards that you play with it. That also, create more rune chants when you create more rune chants, or create more tokens when you create more tokens, stuff like that. And then your Germinate, obviously you pitch to this, create 6 tokens. It can just get out of hand really quickly, and maybe Florian can be set up as some sort of OTK runeblade hero, or at the very least an insanely good tempo runeblade hero. So it is really, really exciting. I think Germinate looks extremely strong. And that's a card that I know not just myself, but a lot of people are looking forward to using and abusing. Of course, we have Aurora. Then we will look at Heartbeat of Candlehold, which is the Verdant specialization. So if you don't remember which one Verdant is, it is your elemental wizard hero. And so this is also why I'm going to assume is a Earth. You get the the essence of Earth with Verdant, and they're going to be an Earth wizard, as well as why they could potentially be a controlling style of hero, which is going to be much different and attack on a different axis than the current wizard that we have now, or the main wizard that you have now, which is going to be Kano. And it's and obviously how Icelander played as well. It's going to be different from those, which is going to be extremely interesting if that is the way that you're going to take Verdant. And then so how this card works, it says gain 1 life, gain 1 life, gain 1 life. So again, they put a really big emphasis on 3 separate instances. This isn't gain 3 life, it's gain 1 life and then gain 1 life, and then gain 1 life. So we can go ahead, and I think there's a really good chance that Verdance has some sort of effect that or card that's going to be similar to Florian, where it could say something like, if you would gain 1 or more life, instead gain that much life plus 1, or something of that nature, right? Otherwise, it'd be kind of weird to make 3 separate instances if you're not going to have something that plays really well off of the 3 separate instances. Or maybe whenever you gain life, deal 1 arcane damage. And then now, instead of gaining life in 3 life in 1 instance and dealing 1 arcane damage, you are now doing 3 separate arcane for 1. You know, something of that nature. And has go again, which is really cool. So 1 mana, gain 3 health, go again. Again, if this has some way to tie back to dealing damage, you could effectively look at this as a 1 mana 6 HP swing with go again. That blocks for 3, blue. That's pretty good. So that could be a fairly good card depending on what Verdance actually does with the gain 1 life. I would assume it has a way to turn life gain into damage. And if they do, this could be a really, really, really impactful card. But until we have more confirmation on what Verdance actually does, or the effectiveness of gaining 3 instances of life goes, it's just speculation. As it is right now, card is okay. Not too bad. You know, blue, block 3, 1 mana, gain 3. Nothing particularly crazy about it. Yeah. So really interesting to see what Verdance does with life gain. Now, for the actual crazy cards, that makes me really, really excited, we have Felling of the Crown. So Felling of the Crown is a 3 mana red, 3 energy red for 4. So it's a 3 for 4. But it says if there are 4 or more earth cards in your banish zone, this gets +4. So if you somehow get 4 or more earth cards in your banish zone, this now turns into a 3 for 8, which is fairly good. But there's a new keyword here, or a new, sorry, I'm not exactly know what they're called, but I'm calling them keyword, called Decompose. It says, when this attacks, you may banish 2 earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. If you do, each hero puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. So, assuming you can empty your hand before actually playing Felling Crown, you can decompose, have this action go, or have this keyword go off, and then now both you and your opponent have to essentially put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. If you don't have any cards in your hand, you're just making your opponent start their turn and their blocking here with only 3 cards, which is really, really good, especially if they don't have an arsenal set up. You know, obviously you can't do this on turn 0 super effectively, but if you do this on turn 1, your opponent doesn't have an arsenal, they only have 4 cards. Well, now they only have 3 cards. If they want to block, they have to block 8 damage, which they can't really do effectively. That takes all 3 cards most of the time, and then they still lose out on value because you did, you know, 3 for 8, and they had to spend 9 block to block 8, which is really good. But the biggest thing here is this is a May ability. It says when this attacks, you may do this. And Florian effects goes off of 4 or more earth cards. Sorry, Felling of the Crown goes off of 4 or more earth cards. So I assume there's a good chance that once you hit that threshold of 4 or more earth cards in your banish zone, you probably don't need to really do Decompose or anything like that. Your deck's going to be essentially turned on. So what that means as far as other card effects goes, we'll have to find out with the new releases and stuff like that. But as far as what we see here, it turns on both your Florian and your Felling of the Crown, and I assume the other cards in this cycle will do the same if there are 4 or more earth cards. And once you do that, I mean, this has the potential to banish 3 on its own, just with Decompose. Just Decompose on its own is you banish 2 earth cards, and then any action card from your graveyard. And if you have a 3rd earth card that is an action card, you can choose that as your action card, and now you've banished 3 earth cards in 1 action, just with this Felling Crown, not including any other card or any other way you have to banish cards, which could be, you know, however you want to do it to banish earth cards. Just 1 Decompose alone gets you 75% of the way to your turn-on point, which is really crazy. And then once it's turned on, then you're just ripping, 3 for 8s off the top of your deck, which is pretty silly and can get out of hand, to say the least. Once, especially if you pair this, because you have to remember, this card can go into a runeblade deck. So not only is it 3 for 8, you decompose your opponent starting with 3 cards in their hand, but it's 3 for 8 with probably rune chants coming at you also, or at your opponent also, which can, again, just get out of hand really, really, really quickly. Okay, the next card we're going to look at, the last two, is Channel the Millennium Tree. So it's a 3-mana red block 3 go again. When this enters the arena at the beginning of your action phase, Amp 3. Amp 3 is the next, I believe it's the next spell, the next time you would do, arcane damage, it would deal 3 more. I don't think it's the first spell you play or just the first one to resolve. I don't quite remember. I get Amp and the other keyword mixed up, but I believe Amp is just the next time you deal arcane damage, you deal 3 more than that, which is pretty nice. So there's that, and then of course Channel Earth. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on this, destroy this unless you've pitched Earth cards equal to the pitch zone, to the number of flow counters. So you keep this around for 3 turns, sometimes 4, I guess, but you keep this around 3 turns most of the time. With the Channel of Millennium Tree. So it's just a nice Amp 3, which again is going to go with your Burnips. So assuming they have some way to convert life into damage or energy or something, they're going to do something with instances of life. Then you have this Channel Millennium Tree where you can just Amp 3 at the start of your turn, so you just automatically get, Metacarpus, Crucible active for free. Or you could think of it as like, oh, I have Kindle, Crucible for free at the start of my turns. Is really, really, really nice. So that's super exciting and can set up for some really, really big turns. This is kind of like your nice setup card where you can just go Channel the Millennium Tree, start your next turn, because it has go again, right? So let's say there's a world where you have blue, Channel the Millennium Tree. You can just go play Millennium Tree from Arsenal with the blue, play Millennium Tree, Arsenal from your blue, Arsenal the last card in your hand, go to your next turn. You now have a 5-card hand with Amp 6 at the start of your turn, and I'm sure it doesn't matter what type of wizard you're playing, there's a good chance that Amping 6 at the start of your turn with a 5-card hand is going to be enough to, if not kill them, deal a hell of a lot of damage. So that sounds really exciting. And then my favorite card for last, I'm not going to say the best for last, probably the best for last, is Channel Lightning Valley. So, 0 cost, yellow, instant, aura. So it costs 0, and it's an instant aura. The first time you deal damage to an opposing hero each turn, draw a card. So, it does say the first time, which I think a lot of people are kind of misreading, because everyone knows card gamers can't read. So I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, you could draw 50 cards with this in 1 turn and just draw your whole deck and guarantee kill people. Not how it works. It says the first time you deal damage to an opposing hero each turn, draw a card. However, that can still easily draw you, 4 or 5 cards by the time this thing goes away. Of course, it has Channel Lightning, so at the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter, destroy it. If you haven't pitched enough lightning cards equal to the amount of counters on it. But again, if you flash this in, because it has instant, if you flash this in on your opponent's turn, deal 1 damage to them, because that's what wizards do. Of course, you could do this in any lightning. Of course, we have the lightning runeblade hero. So if, you can do that also. But we can assume wizards are the best at dealing damage on the opponent's turn. You flash this in on their turn, and we know we have a lightning wizard coming up. You deal a damage to them somehow with arcane damage, whatever. You now draw a card, so it can effectively replace itself. Then you go to your turn, you play cards to try and damage them. You draw a card. Assuming you discarded 1 lightning, you now get to refill, go back to their turn, do it again, and like I said, there's a very real chance that this card ends up drawing you at least, 3 to 4 plus cards. I think if this card isn't consistently drawing you 2 cards, then it's probably not. It's you can't play it. the odds of this card drawing you at least 2 cards, or at the very least giving you the tempo back of your opponent having to discard a bunch of cards to prevent the damage, it's going to be worth it. So if it doesn't actually draw you 2 cards, but what it does do is force your opponent to go full defensive mode, and it swings the tempo heavily in your favor, the card will be worth it. So this is the card I'm most excited for because I love drawing cards, I love dealing damage, and I love dealing damage and drawing cards on my opponent's turn. That's what this card lets me do. So all in all, super exciting set. As someone fairly new to Flesh and Blood, but really loving the Wizard class, obviously I love Kano. I'm super excited. If those of you that don't know, I did try Flesh and Blood probably 3 years ago. And the only hero 3 years ago that really had my attention was Viscerai, which is Runeblade. So the only heroes I've really truly played and actively enjoyed and really loved have been a Runeblade hero and a Wizard hero. And now we're getting a set, my first full set really, of getting to play and enjoying it, because I'm not really playing right now. The first time I'll be able to buy cards, enjoy a pre-release, I should say, a world premiere, is going to be a set that has nothing but Runeblade and Wizard heroes. So I'm over the moon excited for this. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are excited for. If you guys are also excited for the Runeblade Wizard expansion coming out here. I really love the elementals are coming back. I know that was something I did just dabble in a little bit of Oldhim where I had to play elemental stuff, and it was really cool. Really excited. Let me know what you think Verdance does. Why this says gain 1 in 3 different instances. Do you think they're going to be able to turn healing into deal damage, draw cards? Like, surely they have to do something with instances of gaining life, which makes me also believe that this could be some sort of controlling wizard, which is going to be extremely exciting if that is a different style and different axis to approach the archetype on. So I'm super excited. I will keep you guys updated with the spoilers as well as with more videos coming out and more gameplay. I know I've been slacking a little bit, but I've been mostly just trying to figure out what type of content I want to create for you guys. I don't want to just sit here and spam 5 games, hit the record button, and then throw it out to you guys, because that feels like really low quality content, and I don't want to do that. I want to try and find something different. I've thought about video essays, thought about, you know, educational videos. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But until then, I'm just going to kind of post content so I have content coming to kind of keep you guys at bay, or at least not hating me for not posting content. And then once I really find my groove of what type of content to post, we'll go from there. So let me know what content you guys want to like, and let me know if you guys are excited for the new set. That's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one.